Hello and welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial I'll be showing you how to make your own custom animations all for free. The quick demo animation that I just showed you guys at the beginning of the video is just an example of the type of scenes that you can make in Blender with this technique that I'm going to show you. Before we get started, if you celebrate Christmas, then Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a good holiday. Before we get started, I have something I want to say. I've had a few people coming to me and asking if they could donate. I finally set up a donation link if you are interested in donating or you have been interested in before. The link can be found in the description. Everything you donate, no matter how big or small, really helps and will allow me to make more content faster and just improve the quality of the content overall. So thank you in advance, and of course thank you for all the support that I have been receiving. Without further ado, I hope this video helps you make some great custom animations for your montages. Let's get started. To quickly summarize what this video is about, you will be able to take any sort of model that has already been rigged, throw it into Unity and transform the armature to the Unity armature. Then we will be changing the file format to VRM to enable us to capture motion data by using a video. Then we'll be importing it back into Blender and moving that animation to our new rig. This video may not be for you if you require a set armature. There are some exceptions, such as additional bones for hair or for pouches, etc., which the software typically deals with very well and will animate for you as too. Another limitation will be that you will need to do full body animations. You will not be able to do any POV animations as an example. Also, you may not be able to do unrealistic animations. However, it depends on the MP4 video that you'll be using to reference the animation. Typically, this is for realistic animations. There are a lot of benefits to using this method. The first one is that everything is completely free. The only thing you may need is a camera. However, you won't even need that, assuming you can get some good videos online. The method will allow you to capture BVH motion, which is animation data that can be imported into Blender and used to animate your models. The software that we will be using, ThreeDposeTracker, has a Blender system coordinate setting which allows the models to move into 3D space. What's also amazing about this software is that you can create your own animations by recording yourself with a camera or mobile, or you can find suitable videos online that you can use as your animation reference. You might also be thinking that the animations must be crap because everything is free. I can absolutely tell you that the quality of the animations is very good. In general, it will save lots of time and process is quick and easy. The only thing that you may need to do is manually adjust some of the animation. So the first thing you'll need is Blender. You'll also need the Unity game engine. You will also need to download UniVRM for Unity. It is an add-on and it will allow you to import and export to VRM formats from Unity. You will also need the Blender add-on Rokoko Studio Live. This will allow you to transfer your animations from skeleton to skeleton. This isn't always required. You may be able to copy and paste the animation data. However, I found it to be very helpful. Sometimes it wouldn't transfer over. especially when you wanted to stack multiple animations together. The second Blender add-on you need is called UniVRM. This will allow you to import VRM files into Blender. You will also need a 3D pose tracker. This is where we'll get our motion capture data. Finally, the last two things, you'll need a video of animation in MP4 format. You'll also need a character model with a skeleton that has already been rigged. All the links to the software and the add-ons and other resources can be found in the description. Alright, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is open up Blender. I'm going to click A to select all and delete. I'm also going to delete this collection on the top right. The first thing we are going to do is import our model. As we will be importing back into Blender at the end, I will not be going over how to keep the textures, as you can just reapply them once your model is back into Blender. If you do want to know how to do this for some reason, I'm going to link an article post to do so. If it is requested, I will also make a video on how to do it. Nevertheless, we'll go to File, Import, and import your model. Doesn't really matter what it is, as long as you can export it as an FBX afterwards. I'm going to click on Source Engine. I'm going to find my CSGO models. To save time, I'm going to untick Import Animations and untick Create Collections and import the QC. Once your model is in, if you've imported the QC, they will have this box around them. Select it and click Delete. Next, what you'll need to do is select your character, go to File, Export FBX, create a folder where you want to keep your FBX model. So for me, I'm going to go to Desktop, and I'm going to go to Test. This is where I saved my other model. I'm going to do limit to selected objects. What this does is it will just export only what you have selected instead of what is in your view or in the project. I'm also going to turn bake animations off. Next, click Export FBX. Once your model has exported, close down Blender. Next, we are going to download UniVRM. It is an add-on for the Unity game engine. What you want to do is come down to Releases, give it a click, and we're just going to download the most recent one. So we'll give this a click. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to make a Unity folder. So for me, I just created a new folder, gave it a name of Unity. I've put this in my documents. Open it up. I've also made a project folder for myself. However, we're now going to make an add-on folder. So new folder, name it add-on, click and open it. And we're going to grab our UniVRM download and just move it into that add-on folder. Next, we are going to open the Unity game engine. So we are going to open up Unity. I'll be using the most up-to-date version for everything. I'm going to click on the arrow, or if you've only got one version of Unity, click on New. I'm going to click on the newest version that I have. We're going to make sure it's 3D. Title it. So I'm just going to call it VRM 1.1 Test. And you'll select the location that you want your project to be saved in. So for me, this is fine. Like, what's in here? I'm gonna make a new one. Call it test VRM. I'm just going to save it in test VRM. Select folder, click create. Okay, so once Unity has loaded, we are going to install our add-on, our UniVRM. We're going to go to Assets, right click, Import, Custom Package, find your Unity add-on folder, select UniVRM and open. You'll then see this pop up. We'll just click Import. If this pops up for you, make sure you make a backup of your project and then go through this process again. So once you have made a backup of your project, we're going to click yes for these and other files that might be found later. Once that is done, on this pop-up, we're going to click accept all. Then we'll click close. Now, as you can see, we now have a VRM folder and a VRM shader. Up here, we also have something called VRM0, and this is going to allow us to import and export VRM files. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is import our model. I've got my model here. He is named test. We're going to drag and drop the FBX into our contents. If you can't see these parts, doesn't matter, but you can open it by clicking the arrow. We're then going to drag and drop our model into the scene. We're going to reset the position. Make sure everything is 0 apart from the scale, which can be left as 1, 1, 1. If your position doesn't come up, just give him a click and it should come up. Next, we're going to come down, right click him and click on properties. We're going to click on rig. Change animation type from generic to humanoid. This is going to give us the VRM skeleton. We're then going to create from this model, keep it the same. Once you have selected these settings, we will click apply. Once you've clicked apply, the skeleton should be attached and rigged to our model. We can then click configure to check how everything has been linked and where the bones are. Usually everything is absolutely correct, so I usually skip this step. Once you're okay with that, click done. We can now close this tab. We're going to select our model, come up to VRM, export to VRM. Now in order for us to export our model, we need to make sure all these red markers turn white. So the first thing we need to do is set T-pose. We can do this by clicking make T-pose button. As you can see, he's now standing up and it has moved him. There is a little bit of an error here, but we can change this in a Blender. Next, we require a title. So I'm just going to call it CSGO VRM. Version, just going to put 1.0. Author, just put in whatever you want. Now that everything is white, we can export. Find where you want your model to be exported. So I'm going to put mine in test. I'm going to call it VRM test. Now I'm going to click save. Once you have done that, we can now close Unity. Next, we are going to open 3Dposer. All I did was download it and extract it into my hard drive. We're just going to open it up. And the one that we want is going to be this one, 3DposeTracker, the application. Give it a click. Okay, so once that has loaded, you'll be greeted with something like this. Anyway, the first thing we're going to do is add our avatar. So we're going to click Add Avatar, and as you can see, it says VRM File. I'm going to click on File, and we're going to find wherever you've put your new VRM CSGO file. So mine is on the desktop, VRM test, click open. For the moment, you can copy my settings if you want to. But what I usually do is just adjust them as I go along. So I'm just going to click add. Now, as you can see, this is just because he's absolutely massive. So we're going to click on avatar settings. We're going to change the scale. I'm just going to match it. You can match it with the skeleton, but I think I'm going to put 0.25. Just see how big he is. Click apply. Okay, it needs to be a lot smaller. So I'm going to put 0.005. And he's pretty tiny. Okay, maybe something like that. Again, just adjust it and see how he fits. Now I'm happy with this. Click OK. Next, I'm going to go to Configure. And we're going to go through all these settings that we want. So, none of these are important for us at the moment. If you have a graphics card higher or the same as a GTX 1060, you can get a more accurate animation. But what we really want to make sure is we capture at potentially a 60 FPS. Not entirely sure, but I have tried capturing 60 FPS. It doesn't seem to work. I'm not entirely sure why, but it usually does it in 30, but I'm just going to keep it at 60 for now. And the second most important thing is you don't have to have this on, but you have the blender coordinate system. Give that a tick. We have all types of other stuff, like we have the lip sync, if you wanted to do some sort of facial animation like talking, for example. And I believe that is about it. Once you've done all your settings, just click apply and OK. Next, you're going to need an MP4 video file. There are certain video requirements you'll need to hit so that your video animation comes out well. Firstly, there can only be one person in the frame. If you have more than one person in the frame, the model is going to get confused about which animation it's supposed to be doing, and it's just going to mess it up completely. The second thing is that the whole body needs to be in the frame. So for example, if the feet are cut off, it's going to ruin the rest of the animation, and body parts can be flicking around everywhere. So make sure there is a clear sight from head to toe. The last thing is that the video format has to be MP4, MOV or WMV. So this is the video that I'm going to be using. This is just a file I found on YouTube that I've downloaded and trimmed down. Make sure it is in MP4 format. Click open when it's selected. And as you can see, it's loading. And as the video goes, he is animated. If you see here, there is some sort of slit going on, and you can see behind him. This hasn't got anything to do with this software. It's because if you look at the Blender model, the vertices are not linked here. It's always covered over. So that would be something you would need to fix if you wanted to animate with this model specifically. But in most cases, this won't be a problem. What you'll then do is you'll click record BVH, and you'll start this from 0. So you just load the movie. He'll go into his position, do his kick and stop. Another way you can do it is you can pause your animation, put it on 0, click record BVH, click pause again, and it'll play, do his kick. Once that's done, you'll click on recording, and then you can save your motion capture. So I'm going to save this in desktop folder again, and we can just call it motion capture. Save. The next thing we are going to do is download the Blender add-on Rokoko. We're going to click download plugin and download under Blender, and you'll be given a zip file. Next we are going to download VRM Addon for Blender. We are going to go to releases, download the source code in brackets zip. Next we are going to go to our Blender add-on folder. Here we are going to go to our downloads, drag and drop our add-ons into our Blender folder. If you don't have a Blender folder, all you need to do is click new folder, name it add-ons or Blender add-ons. Next, open up Blender. Once you have opened up Blender, we're going to enable and install our add-ons. We go to edit, preferences, install. Go to our Blender add-ons. We're going to install Rokoko Studio Live first. Click on it and install add-on. We will then also do the same for our VRM add-on. Next we are going to enable our VRM format because I've already installed it previously. It's come up with 2. However, this is the newest one, so I'm just going to remove this and click on this. We're also going to activate Rokoko Studio Live, give it a tick. If you click N on your keyboard now, we have a VRM which is going to allow us to import VRM models, as you can see, and export VRM models. Rokoko is also here. I am just going to sign into Rokoko. Once you have signed in, your Rokoko Studio Live will look like this. If you haven't signed in, you will need to make an account and sign in with it. Or if you already have an account, just sign in. Next, we are going to select all. With A, click delete, and I'm going to come up here, delete our collections. We're going to import our animation and our VRM model. So I'll go to File, Import, VRM. I'm going to go to my desktop and we're going to find our model. Import him in. We can select our model, go into edit mode and move this vertice if you like. I'm also going to shift click to select everything, Control J, and that has linked the arms and the model together. Next we'll go to File, Import, BVH Motion Capture. This is default in Blender. You do not need an add-on to do this. You can change these settings if you want to, for example when you want the animation to start. Before we import it, make sure to change your frame rate to match the frame rate that you've recorded in. I'm just going to set it to 30 for now. Import. And we're just going to flip our skeleton. And we're just going to test him out. So I'm just going to hide the skeleton here. We're going to click play and just to see if he moves or not. There we go. So the animation's in there. going to click Alt H to get Y. Head back. We're going to click N. We're going to go to Rokoko. We're going to go to retargeting, and we want these two parts here. Source is going to be the armature that contains the animation, so it'll be our motion capture, and the target is going to be the armature that we want the animation to have. So we'll click on our CT skeleton and we'll click build bone list. Depending on how well it does, it's going to give you a bone list, and it will attach things depending on how it does. You will not have bones for everything, but that's completely fine. Now what you will need to do is rebuild this list to the best of your ability. So we want leg upper left, so we'll just type in leg and we have upper left. And we'll click jiggle underscore climb, and we're just going to match everything to the best of our ability. Sometimes there won't be bones that match, but you can leave it blank or just do the best that you can. Then we'll click retarget animation. So it has now finished, and what we can do now is test the animation by clicking play. As you can see, works pretty well. Let's give it a pause. You can now delete this motion capture skeleton if you want. And as you can see, we have a working animation in Blender. I hope you found this video helpful. Like and share, leave a comment, join the Discord if you need any help. All links are in the description. Thank you, and see ya.